Many of us have found ourselves in between our jobs and our side hustles, like how we call it. But I don't like calling it side hustle
It feels
because
like
it
you're
misleads
minimizing
us.
it.
Yes, it misleads us most times. We do not give it importance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you're saying this is my side hustle, it's something you do when you feel like chances are you do not give it priority.
Yeah.
You can even turn away orders, not because you're busy, but because you feel it's a side hustle.
It's not the main thing.
It's end of month, I've received my salary, so like I'm not in lack of money.
I know.
And then you're thinking of your side hustle because you feel okay, we're in the middle of the month, I've spent all my money from the salary,
So
so
now
now
I need
some money to push me through this week. Yeah. But while we're starting these businesses, I want to think of them as our babies. This is your product. It's not just a side hustle. This is something that has your name to it. Yeah. If we look at it from that angle, that this is not just a side hustle. It's not something that brings in money for me when I need a little money. But this is where my legacy is going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to find yourself giving it more time. You're going to find yourself doing the things that Coach Hilda has talked about, having to do the research. You'll find the niche and all that. But there's some of us that will just do like a side hustle. I know of people that deal in, let's say now, clothes. Yeah. When someone says, I want baby clothes, you're there. I want men's clothes, you're there. Like you're not anywhere.
I want blankets.
So someone, yes, and you bring the blankets, yeah? We call those by EDB. Someone tells you Zendimu EDB. But where does that put you? So for those of us that have side hustles, let's say you lose your job.
Abruptly.
What are you left with? Because that happens. COVID-19 happened. None of us expected it.
Yeah.
And people lost jobs. But we had side hustles that we did not take seriously. So at such a point, people will not also take you seriously because maybe they made an order and you did not deliver. Because you felt like, even if I disappoint this person today, I have my job where I'm getting 2 million per month. So I don't need the 50,000 from this cake. But let's look at the side hustles we have as dreams, as ideas that are only known to us, that only ourselves can understand. Because if you look at the companies that work with, organizations, all the big, organizations, companies that we look at and admire, they started from somewhere.
Yeah.
Can you have a vision for your side hustle? Can you have a mission for it? What do you want to stand for? Where do you see yourself in 2 years? Because for you to have been in your baking side hustle for 2 years is something. 2 years and you've been doing this by now, I would assume you understand everything about this business. You can actually freely walk out of your job for this job. But for you to still be in doubt means it's not something you've not been taking seriously. So for those of us that have side hustles, we need to look at those not just as side hustles, but these are products, these are ideas that will bail us out in the future in case something happens to the jobs that we have.
Awesome. Thank you. A round of applause to Coach Joan. Yes, we have a question.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening.
I'm Baba's Justin. There's something you talked about that we should do something aligned with our calling. So how about us that have callings maybe in churches and we don't have callings concerning business? And how do I identify myself concerning business? How do I identify my calling concerning business?
Okay, so I need you to be able to stay up for a little bit. What do you do in church? What is your calling in church?
In church, I do intercession.
Okay.
And I'm a worshiper at the same time.
Okay, you do intercession and you are a worshiper.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to know that. Now, it's okay, you can take your seat. If I have any more questions, then I can come back to you. Now, you realize that how God created each one of us is we have something so outstanding, uniquely inside of us, a calling or a sense of purpose that we all have. But guess what? The world is keeping us from knowing that. So we will go to school and we will be told so many things. We will be told being a doctor is the in thing, being a lawyer is the good thing. We'll be told, being an engineer, being a teacher, we'll be told. as in everyone else will scream into our ears about who we are supposed to be. Now, sadly, we come into finding our purposes, so many of us, when our life is in the evening time. That is when you sit back and like, what did I love to do? Like this whole time. And then you discover you love dancing, but again, you did not dance. So you danced in your bathroom and you danced in your home, and you could have been maybe one of the greatest dancers. But in Uganda, a dancing career does not exist. But I've seen people that are flourishing in that. Now, I want you to look at the different people. Let me say Joanita Bynum. Okay? Your gift is supposed to uphold you and feed you, and you are supposed to flourish and thrive because of your gift and calling. Whether you are an intercessor. Do you know Joanita Bynum?
No, I'm Justin.
You're just hearing her for the first time?
Yeah.
So I want you to Google her. I want you to Google Cindy Trim. I want you, and definitely whenever you Google these people, Google will give you enough people who are doing enough of the same thing that you are Googling about, the same person. So I want you, Tasha Cobbs, you know Tasha Cobbs? Her only thing that she does is worship. And she's one of the richest persons. She's invited in countries just to do worship concerts and to teach worship, and she is flourishing and thriving. And she's not lacking. It's the only thing she does in her life. Joanita Bynum is just a typical intercessor, that she has a studio, just like you're seeing this setup. All she does is to sit and pray. And people pay money from all over the world, the globe. You have seen Benny Hinn? You saw the altar that he had of prayer requests. Tell me that people were not paying. Whenever he says, we have a conference in China in December, that conference will be paid for in January, and it will be done, and it will be in millions of dollars. And it will be catered for. Said there is no gift that is too small. It's only us that belittle the gifts that we have inside of us and the callings that we have inside of us. I should have said, speaking for a living. Who does that? At a time where I didn't see any speakers that were flourishing in Kampala, I should have said, no, that is not a calling. I should have said, maybe there's another better thing to do. I stuck to my guns. I requested, I asked, I begged for opportunities. I'm like, no, just give me radio. Give me 2 minutes, 1 minute on radio. You will see me. And then from 1 minute on radio, where Yogeza, TV stations are inviting you. Newspapers are inviting you. Magazines are inviting you. Everyone wants to give you an interview. And then you're thinking, if I had not stuck to this and went for finance, because the team actually wanted me to do finance, because it was like, I have businesses, so if my wife is doing, finance, then we are catered for. Hey, meanwhile, me, I'm there teaching guidance and counseling. Luckily enough, when I came and told, I was like, what have you applied for? I was like, guidance and counseling. And remember, I was mature. I was not even young. I went to school when I was 29, and I was studying with 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. I should have said, they've told me to do finance. There was a deeper calling inside of me that I knew I wanted to speak to people, to speak hope, to speak even when I saw no one do it. I believed that it will be doable. Isn't it doable? It is. So there is no small calling. If you're an usher in church, ushering alone can make you a multi-billionaire. Do you know how many events people have in this town? I have a launch on Monday. I need ushers. Even if you're a decorator in church, you put chairs together, you can be an events organizer. As in, we belittle our callings and the things that we love. Why? Because maybe no one has told us that is important. Very important. So I don't want you to belittle anything. Whether it's being an intercessor, whether it's being an usher or a worshiper or a preacher, that is a calling that can earn you a lot of money. And while you are serving your God wholeheartedly, not even twisting people's arms of, if you don't bring a big envelope, then I see a grave in front of you. You've seen pastors that have prophesied death because they want money. Now we say that is misuse of calling. That means you are not called enough if you need to twist people to get money out of their pockets. No. Your gift should attract the kind of money that you want. Okay? So, are we together? Does that help? Even if you're just a pastor's wife, that is a calling. Seriously. Do you know that you have leadership? You have all women under you, and you can be able to mentor them, transfer, and teach them how to be confident, teach them how, you actually you can even make courses, even for other pastors' women. How do you thrive without dying? Hey, do you know how much depression pastors' wives are going through in Uganda or even in the world? Teach them how to walk away from depression. Teach them how to have their own callings, because half the time pastors' wives think that because my husband is called to be a pastor, I'm also a pastor. It's possible that you're supposed to be an usher. Go and usher. It's possible that you're not supposed to sit even on pastors' seats, that you're supposed to sit at the door, smile for everyone, and bless them while they get out. As in Wezule, you know, we have stuck into people's underarms or armpits because we have not discovered who we are. And then they don't invite you for a meeting, and then you're like, kakati, msumba sosola, msumbata sosola, value eriwa. What did God call you to do? Can you do it? If God called you to cook, go and cook. Haven't you seen chefs that are thriving in this town? Beautiful.